Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times to discuss books and horror. Today we have here some book recommendations based on Final Girls.
It's coffee time.
So I have been thinking about some video ideas and I decided to try to make a video series based on horror tropes, and of course after just having read the Final Girl support group by Grady Hendrix and also absolutely loving, as you know, Final Girls by Riley Sager, I thought the trope of the Final Girl would be a good one to start with. Of course I love a strong female in horror in general, movies, shows, books, and I decided to put together a list of 8 books that have exactly that, a strong female character that is put under a lot of stress and danger and has to fight for her life. Now, I'm not going to go into details on the ending, if the girls survive or not, because we're not here to spoil the books. So you're not going to know if the girl of the book survived or not unless you read the books. There is another reason why I chose this specific trope for this month, and that is that the first book that I read in the month of August had a final girl, and it was so good that I just need to tell you about it because you all need to get this book. And that is The Perfect Victim by David Sodergren. And this book was so bingeable. I wanted to keep going. I finished it so quick. I actually was supposed to do something else, but I just couldn't stop reading, so I decided to just finish the book because I was so invested. Katie is the daughter of a famous Hollywood producer, so she is the perfect victim for a kidnapping and asking for some ransom because of course her dad has money. So in this book we are going to see Katie fighting for her life, trying to survive, and there is not too much that I can tell you about the book because I really don't want to spoil anything on the plot for anybody because this was such a page turner. It was so engaging, and like I said, I binged it so quickly. I'm sad that it ended so fast. And this is a brand new release from 2021. It just came out in July, so I strongly recommend you to pick it up this summer. Warning though, it was very disturbing, gory, bloody. There were moments where even myself, I was like, gross. So just, you know, keep that in mind when you go into it. And from one messed up, disturbing book to the next one, Dollhouse by John Hunt. I was not ready for this book when I started it. I did not expect this book to be so disgusting, but I ended up loving it. Just, you know, be aware that this one also has a lot of gore and blood and it's really intense. Now in this story we follow Olivia. She just started college, and the first night on campus she decides to go out to grab a coffee in the middle of the night, and she is also kidnapped. So we have 2 kidnap stories, 2 for the price of 1, and she's going to have to fight for survival. That's all I'm gonna tell you, and her father is looking for her. That's all you're getting from me. But again, this one was such an amazing story about a final girl, about a strong female that has to fight for her life. And I also wanted to mention that I also love the trope of a final girl so much because not all of these women, all of these girls that have to go through hell start as a very strong, confident character, like a kick-ass character. Sometimes there is an evolution, and I love to see that. I love to see the time where they just like their brain kicks in and they just turn into this killing machine. Endless Night by Richard Lehman, another messed up, disturbing story, and this was my first Richard Lehman book, and it made me fall in love with his stories, even though they're all very, very disturbing. This book, what starts as a home invasion story, is going to turn into a real run for your life survival story for one of our characters. Jody is having a sleepover when some man go into the house and start killing everybody that crosses their way. So she starts to run and runs for her life, and she never stops running for nearly the whole book. So this is such a action-packed story. One of my favorite things about this book was not just the character of Jody and to see her evolution, but to see the killers. We follow one particular killer in this book, and he was so gross and disgusting. At some points it kind of reminded me to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it was just full of twists and turns, and I felt like I was never ready for what was going to happen next. And it was just so good. So if you're looking for a really messed up story, this one's for you. The Last Final Girl by Stephen Graham Jones. I think I've talked about this book in my channel before, but the first thing that I would like you to know is that the editing and the way that this book is presented is not your traditional book that goes from prologue to epilogue. It is kind of as if you would turn a screenplay for a movie into a book, and there is a lot of dialogue, but Stephen Graham Jones manages to make it so much fun to read, and it's also kind of funny at times. If you compare it to a movie, this could be a B-movie slasher in which a bunch of girls are fighting to survive in order to be the last final girl standing after a killer maniac starts targeting them. Under the Blade by Matt Serafini is one of those books that sounds exactly like Friday the 13th, and it's one of those stories that the horror tales told at the campfire come true. We are in the 1980s and we follow Melanie. She is a counselor at a summer camp, and sadly while she's there at camp there is a murderer on the loose that is going to kill all the counselors. However, Melanie manages to escape. 25 years later, she has moved on, or so she thinks, and there is an opportunity, a chance that comes up for her to return to the camp, and she thinks it's actually going to be really good for her because she needs closure. She needs to kind of find out who this murder was, what really happened, and she decides to return. Then I have a trilogy that I actually want to check out myself, and I've heard that it also fits the trope of the final girl, but I have not read it myself yet, and that is Kill River by Cameron Rubik. And this is the first book, is about a 13-year-old girl with her new friends. We are in the 80s and they are at a summer camp, but of course in the middle of the night they decide to go out, look for somewhere where they can be by themselves alone without the counselors, and they end up finding this supposedly empty and abandoned water park, and they decide to have some fun there until someone is going to come to kill them. So this is a slasher that I've heard has the final girl trope. I still have not read this trilogy myself, but I really want to because this sounds like so much fun. I still don't have the books, but I do want to purchase them. So if you have not checked them out yet and you have a copy yourself, maybe you can still squeeze this one in before the end of summer. Escape from Happydale by Jack Quaid. This has been pitched to be Quentin Tarantino meets Stephen King, and I do see those references here. Now, in every final girl horror story, we have a girl that survives, and that's how it ends. However, in this case, Parker not only survives a massacre, she also decides that she's going to target all the creeps, all the stalkers, and she's going to be the one killing them. She's going to travel through the country with her chainsaw that she has called Aerosmith, and she is going to go on the hunt for these creeps. This is such a fun slasher, again, for people that love those 80s vibes, those type of movies, and if you've not checked this one out yet, you absolutely must. The last one is a novella called Final Girl by Mira Grant, who also writes under the name of Shannon McGuire. And even though this was more on the science fiction side of things, it kind of explores the psychological kind of things that happen to the girls that have been final girls and how that affects their lives. This is a novella that it is kind of like a hidden gem, I guess, because not many people know about it, or I haven't heard many people mentioning it, but it is definitely worth your time. We have this new virtual reality that has been created to help people that, you know, have PTSD, that had to go through really traumatic events, and they kind of put them in nightmares to kind of deal with it and confront their own demons. So that was it for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. This is the first video that I'm doing on horror tropes. We are tackling here final girls, so if you have any other recommendation books about final girls, let me know in the comments down below, because it's definitely something that I love to read about. I hope that you maybe found a book here or two that you didn't know of, or I reminded you of something you wanted to read. As always, you guys, thank you so much for all your support. Thanks for watching. Please give the video a big thumbs up, and I hope to see you as always in our next coffee time. Bye!